Hello, my creative friends, and welcome back. This is part 4 of 4 videos on how to make your own handmade gratitude journal to go along with our 30 days of gratitude project in the month of November. I had shared this morning that I would put the finishing touches on my journal this afternoon. I want to show you how to attach the guts to the cover, talk about maybe adding some optional tabs or decorations. But before I dive into any of that, if you're brand new to Painting in Your PJs with Minette and you stumbled across this video, hi, I'm so excited that you're here. Welcome. This is the fourth part of a 4 video series on creating a DIY handmade journal. And Painting in Your PJs is all about how to use art as a creative practice for self-discovery and personal growth. And what better way to do that than with practicing gratitude. And as I was creating this year's gratitude prompt journal, this is the third year in a row that I've done that, what I really thought about was how could we change this up a little bit. It can get really challenging sometimes to come up with things that we're grateful for. Not that we don't feel grateful, but maybe naming them. And then there's probably some areas of our life that could use a little extra gratitude, and maybe we aren't always putting a little bit of attention towards those. So I wanted to give you an actual sneak peek here of what the Creative Gratitude Journal looks like, because this also gave me some ideas for where I want to go with this with my actual physical journal that I made. So I got to switch screens over here. So what you're going to get is over 30 pages of juicy goodness. There are a few different themes. There's gratitude for the self. There is gratitude for relationships. I know I'm going really fast. Gratitude for the natural world, and a couple of other prompts as well. There's a little information about how to get started and use this. And then every day, what you're going to find, let me move that up a little bit. This is a little funky on these screens, is you're going to find both a journal prompt as well as an art activity prompt. And I will be working through these prompts live 3 days a week, so I won't do all of them. I'll do my favorites. I'll probably do the other ones on my own, but throughout the month of November, I will be going live pretty consistently starting on Wednesday, November the 6th. So I will, because I'm out of town next week, I might try to sneak in a couple of earlier ones, then that we'll see how it goes. But there are a lot of really juicy prompts in here. And thank you to my son Connor, who created this really beautiful handout for all of us with these gorgeous fall colors and images. I'm particularly excited about diving into some of these distinct categories, like gratitude for my friendships, not just family, but also for friendships this time of year, for the mentors that I've had in my life, for the elders that I'm present to, getting to spend time in connection with, gratitude for the natural world, just so much to get excited about. And then gratitude for life's gifts, for my creativity, for adventure, right? My life is pretty amazing these days. Gratitude for solitude. So we have a lot of different prompts that we're going to play with in our art journals, both expressing our gratitude through image. And that might be intuitive collage, it might be a mixed media art journal page, or it might be strictly through writing. So if you're someone who prefers writing to arting, then we have that option available for you as well. All right, so I'm going to get back over here to my journal. And I have one more signature to stitch in. The journal is coming along. And I wanted to show you, if you're someone who likes to make your journal a little bit more fancy, a fun thing to do is to add decorative papers. So this was a fun one. It is a wipe off page from when I was doing gel printing and I was cleaning off my stencils and my brayer, but I really loved the colors and the patterns. It's funny because it's kind of moody, a little bit different palette, but I loved how it came out, and it's on that same book cover paper that I use to make the outside of this the guts of my book here. But you could use scrapbook paper, you could use gel prints, you could use handmade decorative papers, and you could cover each of your signatures if you wanted each week to have a little bit different reflection or color or theme or tone to it. So I stuck one of those in there. And then the last one is back to just being plain again. And I'm going to stitch in this final signature. I've got my waxed linen thread and my needle. I have my signature with the holes punched. And remember, if you're new to bookmaking, a signature is the stack of pre-folded papers that you're going to stitch into your book. So a signature is a stack of pre-folded papers. And I am going to come from the outside of my book. I'm going to go in that middle hole, maybe. I have a busy weekend ahead and I'm out of town next week, so I was committed to getting this journal done today, so excited to be here and get that done. So I went from the center hole in the outside of my cover in my spine. I'm going to go inside the center hole, and remember, I'm starting, if you haven't watched video part 3, I'm starting on the outside because I want my knots to be on the outside, not the inside of my book. Then I'm going to go up and out the top hole of the signature. This is called a pamphlet stitch. It is so easy to do. It is perfect for fairly novice bookmakers like myself. Then I'm going to go back in the middle hole, being very careful not to come up in the middle of my thread. So I'm not splitting that thread. I'm going to pull that nice and tight, and then I'm going to go out the bottom hole and out the bottom hole of my spine. Pull my needle off, and I'm going to stick my needle back into this card so that I don't lose it. And then I'm going to knot this last piece off. And get that other little tail hanging there. And I'm just pulling that thread so my knot is right over the top of my hole here in the center. And I'm just going to do a simple double knot. Pull that nice and tight. We don't want that to come loose at any time, so you want to give it a good tug. And one of the nice things about wax linen thread is that it definitely knots up nice. Look at all those nice torn edges. Now I have this nice full journal, and I need to stick my signatures and my inside of my book. I need to attach it to my cover. This is going to be a lot easier than you might think it would be. All right. So again, if you're popping by and you're just joining me, this is part 4 of a series on making your own handmade journal. So I have some score tape. I'm trying to decide. I think that one's a little thin. I'm going to use this big fat. This is like 1.5 inches wide. Or is it just 1 inch? No, it's 1 inch. 1 inch wide. This is score tape. And I'm going to turn this way just for a second. And I want this to stay really put inside my journal here. So I want a fair amount of tape. Sometimes in a smaller book, I might cut this wide tape in half. And this one is a 1/4 inch, and it's not quite wide enough, so I would end up using extra of that. But the 1/4 inch is awesome for a lot of small projects, card making, other projects. Okay, I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to get all my tape down, and then it's going to be quick and easy to stick our book together. The thing that you want to think about when you're doing this is the score tape is super, super strong. And once it's down and your paper is stuck to it, you cannot reposition your paper. So it's really important that you get things lined up exactly where you want them. All right, I'm going to go on to side 2. And I'm not going all the way up to the edge. You can see it's not quite flat there. It's a little flatter on that side. And it's okay if it doesn't go all the way to the center here. And we're not going to put any tape here. We want this center spine of our book to be movable and flexible. So I'm not putting any tape on the spine. Apparently I can't measure and talk. And I'm looking at my roll of tape here going, I think I did order another wide one, but this is one of those studio tools that I never want to run out of because you never know when you might need some super strong double stick tape. So a secret to easily pulling the paper off of that double stick tape is just give it a little pressure on there. You can do that like I did with the handle of a pair of scissors or with your bone folder, and then this tape is just gonna amazing how it just pulls off. It's actually quite easy to get apart. She said, that's what she said. There we go. Now I'm not going to take the tape off of this side yet because I don't want to accidentally get anything stuck to it. I'm going to take the inside of my book here. I'm going to make sure I have that nice deckled edge at the top of my book. I'm going to open up the back flap of that book, and I'm going to very carefully line this up where I want it to go. And then I'm just going to press down, give it some pressure. I don't know why this rust color is really speaking to me today. Love, love, love. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. But before I do that, we're just going to fold. Make sure everything's nice and lined up. Nothing's hanging over. The pages are all nice and trimmed to the right size. It's looking good. With a hardbound book like this, you could make some kind of a closure, but I don't want anything else on here that when, the book is open flat is going to be standing up too much. All right. Definitely got some little stringy bits in there and paint on every part of the inside. Okay, I can tell I did not. There we go. Even just rubbing on one corner of the tape will help it to stick. But I want to make sure that's really nice and tight in there because I don't want the inside of my book to come apart. Clean up my mess. One more. Dun, 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 dun. So fun. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to close my book, right, so that I make sure that the spine of my book is nice and lined up inside the book. And then I'm going to carefully just take and lay down this piece in here. I noticed it wasn't quite as long as I thought, so I got a little bit of extra there, and it's a little bit sticky from that tape. So I might put a little paper in there, or I'll just mess with it a little bit till it's not as sticky. And we have it nice. Look, that's so nice and flat against the spine. Mine are usually don't come out quite this even on purpose. So I'm pretty happy with how that looks. Got plenty of pages to work in my journal for the month. I got that one nice page in there already. And if you watch the video this morning and you've already stitched in your signatures and you're like, but wait, I want to do that, then you can easily just do a little bit of collage on one side of your signature. Like, look at those pretty leaves. That was from some gel printing. It's not quite big enough. I could do this. I could do some scrapbook paper, but I also have here, I'm looking for just what's on hand that I don't have to go chase around the studio for. Those are pretty. All kinds of happy bits. Is I have this lovely music paper. So I could also just come in here and decide, is it going to bug me if it's not going the right way? It might, but I might come in here and simply glue a piece of this music paper on to the cover of one of the signatures, and it just helps mark the signatures. So covering each of your signatures with decorative paper is one fun option. Grab some of these goodies here. Another option would be to make some tabs for each of the weeks. And you'll notice in the gratitude journal, we actually have, let me go back to my screen share. Let's see, we need this one here. There's actually, Connor was so smart when he started putting it all together. There's 5 weeks. We only have 2 days in that last week, but we actually do have part of 5 weeks in our gratitude journal. So I started thinking about, I did not put 5 signatures in, so I might put 5 tabs in and just count off the pages for each of the weeks. And it's really easy to make your own tabs. You could make them out of something like this recycled manila folder. You could make them out of an actual tag, which this is kind of cute because then I can maybe tie some little things off of it. I'm not sure what exactly I want to do yet. Let's see, I have a little bit of this left, so I could definitely use some of this to make a really simple tag. And I'm going to use that score tape to stick in those tabs. And then I can label these week 1, week 2, etc., etc. And I can make this tab shaped. You know how manila file folders have tabs on them? I think all my tabs are on the other side, so I could make it up. So maybe I just want the edges to be slightly rounded. I don't want to cut off all of that folded piece because I want my tabs to stay neatly on there. Okay, it's a perfectly imperfect tab. And then I would just use a little bit of that double stick tape on there, and I would add 5 tabs. I might add them all in different colors, right? So adding tabs for each week makes it easy to flip through. Plus, I really love a book that has bits and pieces hanging off of it, and I thought I would show an example. So this is another handmade journal. This one is made completely out of manila file folder. Here's one with a pocket. And that manila file folder was just glued to the last and front page of the signature. And then I just used a glue stick. I glued fabric to the cover to create the cover. And this one, my friend Robin Marie Smith gifted us all some of her beautiful papers and designs, plus some little pre-made tabs. So you can see this has some pre-made tabs in it already. I think I made tabs out of some of these little decorative cards like this. Here's a piece of watercolor paper, and this was a hand dyed and hand painted, and so I just tucked this in here, just tipped it in with a little washi tape and cut the tab shape in it, used one of the other tabs for a example. So here you can see that simple little tab shape where this one has some tabs added. Or you can always do something fun like this. This is one of Robin Marie Smith's gorgeous bits and pieces. I can't remember what she called these. These were from a previous business that she had, and I just absolutely love these. So I punched a hole in it, added some bits and pieces of yarn, and so that can act as a tab as well. But I love putting all these little tabs in to my journals, and we'll do more of that throughout the month as well, but it just kind of gives you an idea. And of course, who doesn't love a good pocket? So I love having pockets in my journal to collect things in. So this was an actual punch that Andrea had when I was in her studio of making the tag, but now I could trace this shape and use it to design my own tags. Some of Robin Marie's gorgeous, gorgeous work. If you're not familiar with her work, be sure to follow Robin Marie on, I think it's Robin Marie Studios maybe, on Instagram. But look how beautiful these are. These actually feel like they might match my new journal. Look at that one. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All these great pieces. I also really loved this is a piece from when I just simply cleaned off a gel plate that had a bunch of paint on it, and I put the piece of paper on a very large gel plate and let it sit for a while, but I really love how this turned out. So I might trim this up and use it as either one of my signature covers or maybe as a pocket because it's so yummy. I don't want to cover any of it up, and there's a few different ways to make pockets. You can make a library style pocket. I have taught that before on one of these videos somewhere, but I could also just cut this in half and tape down three sides of it. There's so many easy ways to add pockets to your journals. I really loved doing the pocket kind of on the diagonal. Let's see. These aren't quite long enough, so I might have to find a different file folder. But you'll notice in the sample journal that I showed, I just cut this triangular piece out of the journal, and then I taped it on the bottom on the left edge, and here then my fabric, which I've got some hand painted fabric on here, right, just wrapped over to the edge. But with my double stick tape, I would just tap that in. For pockets, I really like using double stick tape as opposed to a glue stick because the glue stick may not be as solid as you want it to be. So if I were going to do that, so first I want to look and see what's the part of this that I really, really love. This is one of those ones I'm like, oh, am I really going to cut this up? And it's a little loose and flimsy. Sometimes I definitely want those pockets to be a little sturdier. Let's see, it's going to go from that nice brown edge there all the way, just kind of eyeballing this, just like we did with some of our other parts of the book earlier. And I'm thinking I'm going to show you how I would do this, and then I'm probably going to get a piece of manila. Somebody just gave me a whole box of old used manila file folders, and I'm probably going to get a longer piece and use that so that I can make this pocket a little stiffer, but I'll give you the idea here. And I am going to save all of these beautiful bits and pieces for other collage. I do like a good torn edge, and I don't need this edge to be super straight. I'm going to tear off a little bit of that painty bit because I don't really want the white. All right, and then it's going to have to be maybe a little shorter over there. And then how tall do I want that pocket to be? I go all the way across. That makes a nice big pocket, doesn't it? So what happens if we just fold this corner over? Everything is a big fat experiment. Let's try it and see. It's just painty paper, and even though I'm feeling kind of attached to the paper, right, I'll live if it doesn't work out. All right. Not quite. I really want it to fold from here. So let's actually do this with the ruler and go all the way over to the corner, or maybe just inside the corner. I don't want things to fall out of the pocket. All right, I'm going for it. I'm cutting and folding. And again, I would probably just take some matte medium and attach this to a piece of cardstock or a manila file folder, just sort of unfolding that nice crease that I made in it. Once I get some matte medium on there, or maybe a fun piece of ribbon or something, once I use this up a little bit, no one will even know that it's here. Okay, so that feels about right. I might even cut off a little bit more, so I want to be able to tuck things inside the pocket so they don't fall out, but I want to have some room for that pocket to move. If this is too tight on here, I also won't be able to get things stuck into the pocket. So if you notice in our sample book here, right, there's definitely plenty of room. And one of the ways to get plenty of room is to tape it around the edge here instead of inside of the pocket. That helps make the pocket looser. This side is double taped, but this one is wrapped around the edge. But I don't have that option here because I'm on the edge of my book. Unless I want something, I'm okay with something that is going to wrap around the back of my book over to the front side. And I don't think so, but I think that really thin double stick tape is going to work. But again, I'm going to want to adhere it to something like this. Actually, we'll just piece it together and it'll work fine. I just want it to be stiffer because if it's too thin and I keep sticking my hand in there, guess what's going to happen? is that I am going to end up ripping that paper. All right, erase my pencil lines. I'm going to cut just inside of that pencil line, more or less of a straight line. And for this I am just going to grab a glue stick and see where we get to. Oh, hello. Yes, I'm not on here. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat. Hi, Teddy. Hi, Anne. And have fun watching all the parts. And Teddy, you must be up late, my friend. All right, so I'm just going to get a bunch of glue stick down on here. Love my Oohoo glue sticks. I am going to get that tacked onto here so that we have a stronger pocket. That already feels better. And we're going to come in. We're going to use up every little bit and piece of this. Great to see you guys here. Yeah, I'm not usually on in the evening, but I really wanted to finish up. 1:15 a.m., my friend, why aren't you sleeping? I miss you after seeing you in person for days on end, and now I haven't seen you. I'm missing you, my teddy. Okay, trim that up a little bit. And there we have a beautiful pocket, and I love how that turquoise looks against our rust color here. Clean up my space a little bit. Put this back in a safe place. All right. I'm glad I'm not the only one that's missing you. Like, why is it showing such a lag on the video? It's interesting, like where the video is and where I think I am are definitely different parts, but I wonder if it's because I was doing some screen sharing. I don't know, but it's all good. Okay, so now I'm going to take that. I am. How did it get lost? There it is. The super narrow 1/4 inch tape. And I am going to tape my pocket down. And then we'll be complete for today. I so loved having you there, Teddy. And getting to have dinner with you one-on-one was an extra special treat. Scissors. Cut that on an angle so it matches. Trying to cut the tape and not the pocket. Don't put tape. I almost put tape on my diagonal edge, but that's the top of my pocket. Not what I want. This is why I don't do things this late in the evening, because my brain is not working anymore. Sounds great, Teddy. All right. And I'm working in this tiny space and I don't understand how things get lost so fast. Okay. And I want that super thin tape because it's extra strong, but also I want more pocket, less tape. So I wanted that super narrow tape on there. Get that nice and lined up. Dun, da, da, da. Give it a nice good rub. And notice I didn't go all the way over here because if this were to get fat with pocket stuff, my book would not close, right? So this way that gives, I can stuff stuff in my pocket. It's still a tight pocket because of that tape over there, right? Make sure we give that a rub. We really want that to stick. So I'm not going to be able to put a ton of stuff in this pocket, but I can certainly put a few little notes or tags, images that I find and I might want to collage in later can go inside that pocket. And again, I really love how that page came out. All right, so my journal is done and ready to go. I may decide to add some of those tabs a little bit later on. I may, I don't know, add some happy hanging ribbons and things off of it because I love that. We'll see. But for now, it is ready for the first full week of November. I'll be gone next week. I'll be back the first full week in November, diving into our brand new month of a pleated side would work absolutely great, Teddy, on the pocket. Yes, and I could show how to do that on the inside front cover. Yes, a pleated pocket would also work great. Oh, that would be so fun, and invite a friend over and make a party out of it. Always great. All you need is a hardcover. This is just a recycled hardcover book that I got either free or super low cost, and then painted up with acrylic paints and a little bit of collage. And I love Teddy's idea. Pleated pockets work great. And actually, manila file folders already have the pleats in them in the center, so that would work really well, really great as well. But for now, it's complete. Have a beautiful rest of your evening, my creative friends. And as always, thank you for joining me live. Thank you for catching the replay, and I will see you guys all in about a week. Have a great rest of your day.